Welcome everyone back to our channel. Today we are going to start on our spring project, and behind me I've got some of the dirt ready to go for our 50 by 50 garden. Right behind me up there on our brand new pallet table, we've got some material from the store. Let's get our hands dirty. All right, so we've been working towards this day here for a while now. We've been talking about it and doing some planning, and I think we're going to go ahead and pull the trigger. We've decided on a 50-foot by 50-foot garden that's going to be right here on the other side of our house. We've got the little pond put in, which we're not going to be able to utilize just yet. So this section of the property is perfect for doing drip irrigation off the house supply water that we have. So let's real quick, we'll just go over the material we have, and then we're just going to start throwing some stuff together. So some of the stuff I picked up at Lowe's, and some other things I picked up from hosstools.com. They're right in south central-ish Georgia, just right across the border from us. And they got a lot of cool things. Some stuff they were running a little low on, so I had to kind of pick and choose. But I believe we've got 162 cell seed starter kit, and underneath that we got one of those peat moss cups. It's a 50 cell starter kit we picked up at Lowe's. This one came from Hoss Tools. Super heavy duty plastic. I'm not doing a review on this, but I'm just kind of talking about it. Just briefly, I'm going to compare the two of them when we're done with these seed starters and see which one I will probably buy more of. Splitter to come off the house, so we could use a garden hose on one and then drip irrigation on another. We've got a homemade greenhouse that we're going to build to set out here for the colder nights so that these seeds can stay in, and I wanted to get a temperature gauge just to keep track of how warm it gets. 100-foot hose from Lowe's. Hoss Tools has got this really cool garden planter for spring, and then also they've got it set up for fall, and it comes with a set of instructions. So that's what we're going to be using as far as all of our planning, getting the seeds started, when the seeds go in the dirt, and then how many days until those are going to be ready to harvest. So pretty cool little thing. A lot of information on here, and I think it's so cool that they had something like this. The 3 seeds we're going to be putting out there are going to be the 4 seeds that we're going to be putting out there. We're going to be running the Crimson Sweet watermelon variety. We're also going to be doing peaches and cream sweet corn. And then we're going to be running 2 different types of okra. These I've got from Lowe's. I forgot to add them to the cart from Hoss Tools. So this one's going to be the emerald variety, and then this one is going to be the Clemson spineless variety. And those one's going to be a little shorter than the other, one's going to be a little longer. Some of these are good for frying, some of these are going to be good for stews. And it's got some information on the back here, so we'll see how those go. We've got water source for the seed starting. I've got some Visqueen back here for the greenhouse that we're going to be putting together, this tabletop greenhouse. And then from Lowe's, I just got 3 bags of this seed starting potting mix. I've never used it before. I usually kind of made my own little mix and then put it all together inside the seed tray. So this is my first time ever using this, so we'll see how this goes. I got 3 bags just because I wasn't sure how much we were going to need. That's pretty much it. I've got an old pallet here and some sawhorses that we set it up on for temporary setup. So let's get everything strung out. Let's get some water and get these things started. All right, so the first one we're going to start today is going to be our Hoss Tools setup. Remember, this one's going to be your more heavy duty, super rigid, not floppy at all. It's almost kind of a cone shape down at the bottom as it tapers down. And then our other one here is, they're all a bunch of peat moss cups that can come out individually. And this one right here, it's a seed starting greenhouse kit we picked up from Lowe's. There is 50 cells in here, and it's made by Jiffy. I want to say it was like $12 or something like that. Wasn't too bad. And it comes with identification, like a little graph here if you've got a bunch of different seeds everywhere. And also you got some stakes that you can mark, pop in the ground. I'm probably going to use these for both. So anyways, let's get started with our watermelon seeds, which are going to go in here. Get a bag open. And while I'm doing that, I'm going to talk about, the garden planter that Haas Tools, that I bought from Haas Tools when we made a purchase here. So the watermelons we got that we're actually maybe starting a little late. Based on the instructions, I went off of the Tallahassee section. They got states and they got major cities divided up so that you know roughly where your last frost would be. And when you know where your last frost is going to be, you can take this red line right here and you can line it up on the date in your region, and that'll tell you kind of what you need to do before that last frost date, the red line, and then what you need to do after your last frost date. So going back a little bit, I use Tallahassee just because that's closer to where we are. I think Tampa was an option. And then I think Savannah, Georgia was another option. So somewhere right in the middle was probably going to be Tallahassee, which is for us. And so that's what I went off of. March 10th was the last frost date. So I set it up for us to use March 15th. So we are running a little bit behind on the melons. We probably should have did it last weekend, but we didn't have any of this ahead of time. So let's get this kind of poured in here. And based on this little graph here, this little chart that they give you, or that you buy, they don't just give it to you, but based on our little chart here, we have got now a good plan as to when the seeds are being started, not necessarily when they should have started, but we've got a good idea as to when we do start them, how long do they need to be in the trays, and then also now we know how long they're going to need to be in the ground when we eventually transfer them. So anyways, I'm bragging about it, but I think it's a pretty cool thing here. I've never grown watermelons before, so I'm trying to get as much help as we can possibly get from people and also from companies who do cool things like that. I always see Farmer's Almanac when I'm looking online to learn stuff, and it seems like that's kind of hit or miss. It's almost like fortune telling. Some people will swear by it, but I've seen other people say that what they're doing is just kind of taking a lucky guess, or statistically looking at what things have been in the past and then just making judgments based on that. No one really likes to talk about when they're wrong, but Farmer's Almanac apparently does a good job of explaining to everybody all the times they're right. So I have no opinion one way or another. So far this stuff isn't too bad. The seed starter mix doesn't seem too bad. It's a little woody. I've got a lot of big pieces like this that I've had to kind of push out so far, like little sticks like that. It's kind of a pain in the butt, but for the most part, not too bad. You can definitely tell they use mulch, a lot of mulch with this compost. Okay, so we've got this whole tray filled up. We're gonna go ahead and we're gonna get started popping these Crimson Sweet variety watermelons in here. And actually what I'm gonna do right now is go in and start poking some holes in this tray. And while I'm doing that, I will talk some more. All right, so that was not expected. A lot of you guys are newer to the channel because we are somewhere right now when I film this at about 170 subscribers. And some of you probably aren't aware, but I tend to have some issues with this cell phone. It's the only thing I have to film with when I'm doing something in the middle of the heat of the day. In this case, it was like 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock. And I got what I could done. I went back and I just looked at some of the footage from earlier. I threw it on the charger and I kept pushing through and was taking care of some other stuff, some paperwork. So let me pick up where I was, and then let me just talk to you for a little bit more and try to make some sort of video out of this. But we planted the Crimson Sweet, which is a seed variety. It does have seeds. It is not seedless. If you were to go with something that was a seedless variety, you are going to need to plant a seed version with it. Haas Tools sells the packs. I think it's a 5-to-1 ratio. So if you went and you bought 10, for example, you wouldn't buy 10, you'd get a bigger pack. But let's say you had 10 seedless seeds, you would need to plant 2 varieties, or plant 2 seeds of a variety that came with seeds. And that is because the seedless varieties are not possible. It's not capable of pollinating itself, whereas the varieties that do have seeds can pollinate. So that's why I went with the Crimson Sweet. It's got seeds, therefore it pollinates itself. And they tend to be somewhere around 20 to 25 pounds. So you're going to get a nice sized melon. The seedless kind are going to be more of your ice box or freezer box, I think is what they label them. A little bit smaller, round like a soccer ball. So this is what I've got so far behind me. We finished everything off, topped the okra, the watermelon seeds, and then the other tray of okra that I got here off with some more of the starter mix. I've got a bag left over, so we can do something later on. The corn I talked about, if you're new to planting sweet corn, that is going to be direct sown into the ground. There is no need for us to start it. We didn't do anything with it today because we still have a load of dirt that's going to be coming in a couple days, where we're going to take the 50 by 50 plot over here behind us, get that dirt dumped on it, and we'll get some rows set up. Once those rows are set up, we'll start drilling that corn into the ground. So take a look at, we'll get the camera turned around here. Take a look at the little greenhouse I did. I don't necessarily know how much of it I will be using, but right now you can definitely tell the temperature's probably dropped about 10 degrees than what it was earlier. And it is getting cooler and cooler as the sun goes down. So the thing with watermelon seeds is you need heat. Same thing with okra. It does not like to be cold. It wants warm soil conditions. It wants water, obviously. And so at night, if we can't provide that warmth, I'm going to go ahead and just flop that tabletop greenhouse we just built and just flop it over the top and try to keep it warm throughout the night. I'll get you... There's a thermometer that I had set up just to get an idea. So as soon as I get done filming this, well, I'm going to actually, you know what? Let's go ahead and do it now while it's getting colder or cooler. I'll plop that down on here. Perfect. So this is a 3.5 mil clear visqueen. I found it in the painter aisle or paint section of hardware store. Covered up the bottom slats so it kind of seals it, and covered up the top. I figure if it does get a little too hot in there, what I can do is just set something up underneath it and prop it up so that we can get a maximum airflow. Let it cool down. But I don't think that's going to be the case here. So tomorrow morning when the sun gets up, take that off once it gets warm, and we'll give it a little bit more water, and we'll just keep doing that every single day based on the Haas Tools garden planter. We've got about a week, maybe 2 weeks before the watermelon and okra is going to go on the ground, and we are starting a little late. And in case you were wondering, this was something we've talked about for the longest time, but because of some other things going on, it got put by the wayside. So we're starting late, but better late than never. I want to talk to you a little bit about this garden plot we got behind us. This will be the first of hopefully many. Pond is just off behind me to the left, and then this is going to be our garden number 1. We would like to get some more put in the future so we could do kind of a rotation. Where I'm standing would probably be number 2, and behind me, directly behind the pond, would be number 3. Past that would be number 4, and then up on a mirror side of the pond would be number 5. We have also the possibility of just doing garden number 1, garden number 2 on the far side where the pile is, and then just taking this section right here and making a nice long piece from the edge of this garden down to the edge of that garden over there. That's still way down the road. We are testing pretty much the ability for our property to produce anything, since this will be kind of the first time we're really putting a lot of time and effort into growing something out here other than grass and weeds. And if we're happy with the recipe for what this little 50 by 50 garden produces, we will replicate that and use that for the next setup. I do have a really good feeling about it. We don't plan on putting any fertilizer in the ground other than side dressing our corn with some nitrogen down the road. That we will do. I also have kind of thought about, with the drip irrigation system, doing some injection into the drip irrigation, but I think this year I want to keep it as simple as I possibly can. Water, good dirt, side dress the corn. That's it. Limit the variables that we're going to be putting into it, so that when it comes time to harvest, we will know whether or not the small changes, those small things that we added in, made an effect or didn't make an effect. The next year when we go to plant again, we can add one thing or we can take something away and then judge the difference. So I want to get a real nice scale that we can weigh what we harvest and keep track of that, so that the next year we plant the same amount, I can judge input into the ground, input into fertilizer, dirt, amending that soil, working it differently. Are we gaining something? Are we losing something? And I think a scale might be a factor in kind of getting those numbers together. Maybe I'm thinking a little bit too scientific about it, but we want to optimize what we're doing. We don't want to work hard for a minimum output in return. So anyways, nice beautiful day. We got something done. I was really worried we would get this day lost, but again, I do apologize for the video cutting off and the heat being a factor. We're going to look into trying to get that changed maybe this year with our Biden bucks. We'll get something coming hopefully. So anyways, it's been great. We love doing this. I wish we could have got the girls a little bit more involved today, but they were kind of off doing their own thing. Anyways, thank you guys again for stopping by. Please visit some of our other videos. If you are new to the channel and this is the first video you've seen, please check out the rest of the stuff we have. Some of it's kind of entertaining, and please subscribe. It would definitely help out our channel. We have 170 subscribers right now, which is awesome, I think. But our goal is to keep moving, I guess. I don't want to be stagnant. So hit the button somewhere over here, hit one of these video links that's around me somewhere, and we will see you the next time. Thank you very much.